for me, my biggest fear is being average, being normal, because that's what everybody wants us to be. That's what society perpetuates us to be, is to be average, be normal, go do what everybody else is doing. Don't work too hard. Don't go too hard. If you do, then if you're working in an opportunity where you can make a lot of money, then that's a scam. We're brought up the wrong way. So,
what you're saying is average is the real pandemic. What's up, guys? Johnny Brock here. I'm with three of my best guys in the world they're in Miami, which I got to get me an apartment out there, y'all, so I can come and hang out with y'all more often, right? So I got Alec Aponte, Eric DeJean, and Ryan Lodi in the building. We're going to chat about how to be the real, because something that has really rubbed off on me is their work ethic, their massive amounts of action that they take. And I've picked up a ton of value just by being friends with these guys. So I wanted to get them on a call and just kind of show the channel and where I'm posting, right? Which is the Insurance Gurus podcast, Justin Brock's channel. I wanted to show y'all kind of where I'm coming from, right? Because people see what I'm doing. They see the results. It's all about the relationships that we've built, right? Because we hold each other accountable. Because one thing that's for sure, I don't want you guys to completely outwork me, right? So we hold each other accountable. We're always hyping each other up. We're boys and all that. But at the end of the day, we're just taking massive amounts of action together because it's infectious, right? So one thing I wanted to start out by saying was, first off, appreciate you guys coming in. But the first thing I want to talk about is Ryan Lodi posted the other day on his Facebook page that he went from prospecting 6 to 8 hours a day to about 10 to 12 hours a day. So I wanted to introduce Ryan and let him talk about that a little bit and what kind of impact it's had on his business, because, that amount of action is only going to make a huge impact. So Lodi, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what kind of impact that's had on your business, my friend.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you having me on. It's been a while since I did a nice little podcast. It feels great, getting out there in the atmosphere again, into the environment. So I appreciate you having me on. Specifically, when I started to, really blow up in my business, and, more particularly back in 2020, when COVID first came around, I wrote $700,000 of final expense business face-to-face within probably the first 6 to 7 months of the year. And, talking about what you asked me about is that going from working 6 to 8 hours a day to 10 to 12 hours a day, you're going to really reap more results, obviously. And also you're going to be able to separate yourself from the competition, or from what we call the competition. You're going to be able to move into realms that other people aren't moving into. You're going to be conquering more business that other people aren't going to be conquering because you're working longer. And like you said, your work ethic, right? If you have this work ethic, you are going to get ahead of most people simply just by working. We're not even talking about your skills, your knowledge that you have, your communication skills. If you simply just work longer, you are going to be able to move into that realm of domination. But when you pair that along with, massive amounts of sales training, when you pair that along with, gaining that knowledge and the comprehensiveness of sales in and of itself, you're really going to be able to dominate. But if you can just get from working 6 to 8 hours a day to 10 to 12 hours a day, every single day on a daily, consistent, disciplined basis, you're going to be moving into domination. And that's what it's really all about. It's not simply about doing other things. It's just about doing what other people aren't willing to do. And that's how you're going to conquer more business. That's how you're going to conquer, that economy that you're trying to create. You're going to be able to conquer the marketplace and really be able to advance and conquer and take market share that other people aren't able to get by simply just working 10 to 12 hours a day. So it really made a big impact on my business. It helped me, get to where I'm at right now in my life. And it helped me get the results that I've been getting. And, I'm looking to do this for another 20, 25 years. I feel at my best when I'm productive, when I'm working, these 10 to 12-hour days, because it goes back to my roots when I was in final expense, when I was working, in the field every single day from sun up to sundown. Like, it was literally just, it got ingrained into me. And whenever I am not working 10 to 12-hour days, or whenever I'm veering away from doing what I know I could be doing, it eats away at my inside. And it's like you're going against, what you should be doing. Right. And when you do that in life, you're not going to feel good about yourself. Your self-esteem is going to go down. Your self, the self-image of yourself is going to go down as well. So really just doing what you should be doing. As we all know, as humans, we all know what we should be doing and what we should not be doing. We all know how much more we could be doing in life. We all know, what that, capability that we have in life. And if we're falling short of it, it doesn't feed us. It doesn't make us feel better. And that's what it really all, about getting that massive amounts of self-confidence in life. It's about making yourself feel good. And the better you feel about yourself, the more you're going to be able to do. And the more that you do, the more that you can do, and the more results you're going to get. So it's really a, revolving circle. But man, massive amounts of results and outcomes have came and are continuing to come as I continue to work these 10 to 12-hour days. Success is not easy. It takes massive amounts of hard work. And you got to have that long-term vision of like, man, this is going to take 20, 25 years. Many people are not willing to do that. But when you do what other people aren't willing to do, you go to lengths and levels that other people aren't willing to go to, and you do what others don't even think about doing, that's when you're going to create, this extraordinary amounts of success and, really achieve financial freedom in your life. So, and it all comes particularly from studying these highly successful individuals. So yeah, to answer your question, man, it's just skyrocketed my business, skyrocketed my income, and it built this massive amounts of self-confidence in myself, self-certainty, this courage in myself. And now I'm willing and able to conquer anything that I put my mind to, right? It's that quote that comes around all the time is like, what you believe you can do, you can achieve, or whatever you believe you can achieve. I forget who said that, but it's a good one because it's true. So,
well,
yeah, appreciate you having me on though.
No, man, for real. You're one thing I know about you is a lot of people have issues getting up in the morning and getting going, right? And one thing about Ryan Lodi is he doesn't have that issue. Are you still getting up at 4 a.m.?
It's getting there. For a few months, I definitely did veer off for a little. At a point in time, I was waking up at 2:40, 2:55 every day, or 2:50, and I was going to sleep at like 8:30. So, and that was for like a good 2 months. But sometimes
I feel like what you were doing is you were gaining momentum for the day, right? So you'd get up, you'd start the day at like 3:15 or so, you'd get to the gym. So by the time, people are still sleeping and you're basically working on yourself and getting better. But what I take away from that is, look, if you go from you're prospecting from 6 to 8 hours a day, right? Which is honestly, people can be successful that way, right? It just depends on how you measure your success. But going from 6 to 8 to 10 to 12, you're increasing your activity 20 hours a week, right? Mm-hmm. At least that's if you work 5 days a week, right? So, and you mentioned in the beginning, you're accomplishing things and you're dominating the marketplace where other people aren't going to dominate. And the reason you're doing that at such a high efficient level is because honestly, if you think about it, here's the way I think about it. That additional 20 hours in a week, let's just say you work 5 days a week, that additional 20 hours, you're getting to that many more people and contacting that many more people that would have been contacted by somebody else, right? And that somebody else would have closed that deal, right? So it's you, and you're that much more ahead of the game because of that. And you're setting a standard for yourself, man. And that's very, very important. I'm a Medicare mainly guy. So my 12-hour days are really from, into September to end of December typically. And then a lot of times I'll carry that momentum on a couple more months. But, if I can get that going all year round, I mean, it'll definitely set me apart from everybody else. But your routine reminds me of that Kobe quote, which I told y'all about before we started recording this, right? Where Kobe's talking about, if you get up at 8 and you train from 9 to 11 and all that, let's say, basketball is your game. It transfers into business too. But he talked about him getting up. He got up at 3, training from 4 to 6, goes and has breakfast, relaxes for a second, trains from 9 to 11. He's got, after 20-year career, his amount of training and knowledge and just straight talent, the reason he was so much better than everybody is because he had literally an entire another person's career under his belt of training because he got up so much earlier and put that much more activity into it. And it's a very similar concept. So I respect the hell out of it. And I look forward to applying more of what you got going on to my daily habits. Cause I need to, 6 to 8 hours. I'm at least doing 6 to 8 hours, but I'd like to be doing 10 to 12 for sure. So, any other additions on that?
I mean, that's I wanted to tune in for a quick second, man. That's a great point. Really breaking down the numbers. You're getting an extra 20 hours of prospecting, 20 hours of working on the business, whatever realm, the viewers and watchers are in right now in their life or their business. You're getting an extra 20 hours than other people are getting. And then also that stems back to the point of waking up early as well. As you said, Johnny, you're getting up before people are getting up, and you're already into your day by the time people even wake up for their day. So you're already ahead of, you're ahead of the pack. You're ahead of, 90+% of the entire world. And, when I was waking up at, that 2:55 time, right now it's about 4:40. Been working on it, been getting that better. But, when I was working up at 10:55 a.m. for a good 2 months or so, me and my cousin Michael Lawrence used to have a call every day talking about our wins. And we used to talk about how waking up at 2:55, that's the CEO time. That's like that CEO time. Like, like highly, highly, highly successful individuals, people that want to make a difference in the world, people that want to give back in massive proportions, not just be able to help themselves, but also give back to, a church, a community, an organization, a foundation. Like they have these massive purposes. And, some people work really good early in the morning, but it really all depends, what really fits you best. However, I think morning times are really good.
That was my next point is, that CEO time can be 4:55. It can be 5:55. It depends on you, right? So you were going from 8 p.m. to 2:55 a.m. Whereas I may be the type of person to go from 11:55 p.m. to freaking, 5:55 a.m. It just depends on who you are, right? So we're not saying that you got to get up at 2:55 to be, a workhorse. Lodi likes to work early in the morning. He likes to work. I know what he's doing. He's not calling clients at freaking 4 o'clock in the morning. He's working on himself. He's gaining knowledge. He's working on his goals. He's figuring out, he's getting prepared, right? Mentally and physically. So it's not what we're saying. We're not saying get up at 2:55 a.m. Do what's necessary though, and put in a right amount of time. Don't sleep 10 hours. That's stupid. You're wasting. If you sleep 10 hours, so you're wasting a significant amount of your life for nothing. So I want to talk to Eric real quick. What's going on, brother? How are you, sir?
What's going on, brother? Appreciate you having me on here.
Man, of course, sir. I want to know what's going on in your world right now. I know we've talked about it. You've been doing a lot of mortgage protection, a lot of solar as well, right? What does it take? What does it take, man? Let's hear what your take is on what it takes to be the trio, because we already know you are.
Dude, it just Lodi broke it down a lot of what I was thinking was, dude, you just got to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do, and you've got to get creative, man, because there's going to be along the road of success, there's going to be so much discouragement, adversity, roadblocks, and you're going to be sitting there wondering, like, what do I do? And that's why so many people in life give up so quickly, right? Because they can't think, how can I overcome this? How do I push through the noise? How can I actually reach my full potential? And so what I've always done, and I've kind of just duplicated my efforts from a young age, because when I was young, I always wanted to be great. My driving factor was I just wanted to be the best in sports. I'm a big sports guy. I played in a professional lacrosse league, got drafted, and my biggest thing was like, I just want to be the best at what I do. And so it stems back to when I'm a youngin' and I'm just looking around and I'm like, man, what is everybody else doing? Everybody else is sitting around. They're not putting in the work. They're not getting the reps in. They're not getting better, and they're not getting themselves uncomfortable. When we're consistently fighting for discomfort, and we're putting ourselves in a state of like, man, like, I want to tap out, but I know I can't, because if I do, then I won't get to the next level. Then that's like the state we need to be in at all times if we want to grow, because we're not going to grow if we're hanging out in our comfort zone, if we're hanging out with other people doing the same exact things that aren't getting you anywhere. And so for me, I've always pride myself on taking actions that people aren't willing to take. Just like our boy Uncle G talks about in the 10x rule. You got to take 10x the actions and have 10x the thoughts that anybody would possibly think are reasonable, including yourself. And then you might have success, because along the way, you got to make up for all the roadblocks and all the discouragement and adversity that's going to come your way, just to hit maybe even a little bit of the goal that you had, if you have a big goal. So it's really, for me, it's always been about just being willing to do what other people aren't willing to do. Put in the extra reps, like make the extra call, do work. Like, dude, it's simple, right? It's like everybody's looking for a secret, but it's really just do more and get around better people. You do more and you get better. And you can't do more and get better if you're hanging around the wrong people. So there really is no secret other than, you do more, you get better, and then you just do that on a consistent basis. And the hardest part the absolute hardest thing to do is to do that consistently. Anybody can do it for, a week, 2 weeks, a month, even 6 months. But can you do it after you've been constantly just knocked out? Can you continue to do it after you've had continuous discouragement, and maybe you got ripped off a bunch of money, maybe you're going on a cold streak and you're questioning yourself and your life and where you're at. But can you continue to push through all the roadblocks to continue to reach your full potential? And you really got to have a strong why as to why you're doing it, because if not, you're just gonna tap out. You're gonna quit. Oh, I'm gonna go find a regular job. I need to pay the bills. But you gotta have in the back of your head that, man, for me, my biggest fear is being average, being normal, because that's what everybody wants us to be. That's what society perpetuates us to be, is to be average, be normal, go do what everybody else is doing. Don't work too hard. Don't go too hard. If you do, then if you're working in an opportunity where you can make a lot of money, then that's a scam. We're brought up the wrong way. So
what you're saying is average is the real pandemic. Right?
Average and fake, dude. Average and fake. Because that's really what we're brought up to be. We're brought up to be average, and we're brought up when we're brainwashed. And so it forces a lot of people to be fake. And so that's why when people when people that we really jive with, or people that are really doing big things in the world, they're real. Like, they're telling you the truth. A lot of people think that they're just trying to scam you, or they're trying to, lie to you. And you really can't make it that big unless you've helped other people. You're providing jobs, you're providing opportunity, you're putting food on the table for all these families. And it's just like, people think of that as fake, or oh, that guy's a scam, he's lying, because they can't possibly grasp the concept of, man, he can, like, if he's trying to do that, he's just, trying to rip people off. He's just trying to not do the right thing. But it's really the opposite. If you're not doing that, if you're not, because everybody has the same potential to be as great as everybody else that's doing huge things in the world. And people don't reach for that because they tap out. They get uncomfortable. They can't fight through that discomfort, and they want to quit, and they do it. And so they need to justify why they quit. So they hate on everybody who did and try to bring everybody else down who did. So, man, just do what other people won't do, and get around the right people, and do that on a consistent basis.
1000%. I think one of the biggest things that separates all of us from the average, like you're saying, is that they don't have any momentum. Because I believe, and I even said this in my speech last week, or two things here. It's energy is everything. I think it's the key to all intention, right? Whatever your intention is, you need to learn how to manipulate energy, because we are energy. That's all we are, right? We need to learn how to manipulate that energy to get what we want and what we desire. And the way that I believe the most important key to doing that, and they're kind of one and the same, is momentum. Like when you're working 10 to 12 hours a day, like I get it if you've got a wife and kids, right? We're all kind of in a situation where we don't have wife and kids at home. We don't have a wife in our ear. We're blessed there, right? And but here's the thing: there's a lot of people out there that are in that similar situation that do go home and tap out early, and they know that they shouldn't be doing that. So it goes back to what Lodi was talking about earlier: is he feels he's convicted, right? When he's not doing what he knows he should be doing. And as humans, we get used to and comfortable doing that. And the key here that you have to take away from this call is that to stay uncomfortable is to basically avoid completely that conviction of, damn, I didn't do what I was supposed to do today. I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Like that, if you can avoid that, success, your success will be unmeasurable, in my opinion. That's kind of how I feel about it. Manipulating momentum and energy in a way to carry you through, right? To get to where you want to be. And also just having that vision of where you want to be in your head while you're doing things, while you're working, while you're, chipping away at it, that end goal, whether that end goal is where you're going to be in 5 years, or where you're going to be in 10 years or 20 years, because here's the way I do it, right? Because 2 years ago when I started doing this, right, I'm exactly where I wanted to be. Actually, I'm farther ahead of where I wanted to be when I first started, right? When I first started, I was like, man, it'd be great if I could, replace my income. $3,000 in residual income would be fantastic. Well, then I got to that really quickly, and I was like, well, that's freaking easy. And then I started hanging out with people like y'all, and my mind just went up and up and up. So I'm like, all right, now I have this vision of myself where I'm going to be, in 3 to 5 years. But when I get there, it's going to be even farther ahead, right? My goal is going to be even, where I'm going to be 10 years from now. So you have to keep expanding that roof and that target, right? So staying uncomfortable is the key, in my opinion, and how I view it. Staying uncomfortable is the key to building that momentum and keeping that energy flowing in the direction that you need to be going in. So that's killer. Both of y'all are. Alec, this guy right here is, man, this is my Medicare guy up in here, man. So first off, let me ask you this, Ryan. Are you doing Medicare at all?
Yeah.
Doing a little bit? Doing a little bit Medicare?
A little bit. I wrote 226 enrollments in June.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Better than most, right? So Alec, tell me a little bit about what you got going on with your Medicare.
Medicare for me is huge. It's the main goal, main focus. Told Ryan I was gonna do 100 apps here in September. That's still my goal. Definitely behind the goal, but still the goal. And then AEP, looking to smash AEP, a little bit of OEP, and then I'm looking at working on the business, not in the business.
Trying to get some people trying to replicate yourself at a certain point, right? Get more.
Yeah, more of like, a business, acquiring multifamily deals, just moving along in life, right? There's levels to everything. I'm trying to get to the next level.
What's your take on what we've been talking about here with momentum and staying uncomfortable and all that? Give us your view on it, man. Cause I don't know, me and you we're new acquaintances, I would say, right? So what's your take on on what we've been talking about with momentum and energy and staying uncomfortable and all that shit?
Well, it all really resonates with me because, I'm from Orlando. I moved to Indiana. I was there for 2 years. So prior to leaving, I found myself like super comfortable, not taking action, rolling out of bed whenever, like really lackadaisical. And I was like, damn, dude, I was like, I used to work like, like a dog. I was like laser focused. I had this mentality to get me to where I was. And moving to Miami, and making that commitment, and just changing my environment, it immediately got my energy, momentum, focus, everything aligned again. And then it's just all about, how do you keep it? And I was even writing down when Eric was talking, and once you have energy and momentum like in life, and like you're trying to go somewhere, and you have, like, for me, I had a lot of average friends, not on the same path, not on the same trajectory, just doing other things, not interested in what I was interested in. Don't listen to them, because they will kill your momentum. Like, just taking that day off, going out doing that thing, just can kill your momentum. But yeah, Eric was saying, so he kind of glazed over it, but I want to like hit on this point. So it's so easy to do more around the right people. When I'm around you guys, these guys, dude, a 10-12 hour day, like, it's so easy to put in, rather than being around a bunch of people who invalidate that and distract you with phone calls. Let's go do this, let's do that. You've done enough. Oh, you already wrote, what if, when Lodi wrote 226 apps, right? He doesn't have people in his ear telling him, you already did 100.
Yeah, go
Right?
chill, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So
And if they would have said that shit, he'd have kicked him to the curb quick for sure.
exactly, be really careful, like really, like, because Eric said it, but I think it probably went over everyone's head. But like, that's so major, man. That's so major.
Getting out there. So that's huge, man. It's so easy to do more around the right people. 1000%. That's the reason I try to do these calls, man. That's the reason I started my Sunday accountability calls, because it's so easy to freaking on a Sunday chill out and not do anything, and just that kills the momentum for the week, right? So I'm today I've already written a couple of apps, and now I'm on this call with y'all. I mean, like, Mondays are easy for me because I make sure that I stay building that momentum throughout the weekend, right? And even like in the slow season, when I do get a little bit like the mainly for my slow season this year, which it still wasn't slow. We're always swamped, but my slow season this year was like let's see, May, June, and then into July. I didn't really write any insurance apps. It was all agent, Go Guru, Medicare Con, behind the agency. So I was calling agents the whole time. And those days, what I would do is I would typically work, like I would kind of take it easy or whatever. And then I would start and I would work a little bit later because it's agents answer the phone a little bit better from like 5 to 7. So I would, and the crazy thing is agents answer the phone almost less than freaking, it's like, why are you not answering the phone? How do you know it's not somebody trying to buy some freaking insurance from you and you're sitting here not answering the phone? Right. So I was working and it pisses me off to even think about it because I would get lackadaisical. And then, the first couple hours of the day, I'm just basically chilling. I'd write my goals out and stuff like that, but I should have done that before. And then I should, from 8 to 10, I should be calling, maybe even writing Medicare apps and then go into the agents. But, we, as human beings, it's our natural state to fall back sometimes and get comfortable. And you got to fight that. You really do. You got to fight it. And it's important to note when you're doing that. And it's important at the end of the day to make sure that you do have that conviction that we've been talking about of, oh man, I'm really slacking. And that's the thing. If I was doing that, I will catch myself a lot of times doing that. And then I have to maybe work an extra day. Like I was planning on going to Lake House, not going to Lake House, going to stay at the office on Saturday, on Sunday. Even if a lot of times on Sundays, here's the thing. If you're broke, I would call even on Sundays. That's the way I feel. I wouldn't care. If I was broke, I would call on Sundays for sure. But like at this point in this stage where we're at, right, on Sundays, typically I won't bother clients. And I don't even see it as bothering clients because our service is needed, right? but I will focus on trying to lay out a map of what I'm going to do and how I'm going to crush the week on Sunday, right? And then I'll do calls like this, and that makes me extremely held. It makes me held accountable, right? I hold myself accountable when I do things like that. So yeah, I mean this is exactly what I want to talk about, y'all. I want to get some trios on here and go over a few things about, you know, what it really takes to be that way, because, you know, I'm not trying to be the real. I am the real. Y'all are the real, but I'm trying to show people that, you know, especially if you don't have a family and you don't have, you know, people that need your attention outside of work, it's time to grind. Now's the time. Like I have clients where I'll keep it real with all my clients, right? And I'll tell them straight up on a Saturday, if I call at 6, they're like, wow. Or if I call at 7 on a Friday, wow, you're working late. Well, I'm 29. I got no wife and no kids, Mr. Jones. It's my time to really, really put my time in and help as many people as I can. They respect that shit. They really, really do, especially, you know, a 65-year-old male or a 70-year-old male who's gone through life. If they don't respect that, then that's fine. But they do, right? They expect authenticity, number one. They expect realness, which is one of the reasons I think all of us are probably so good at selling stuff, is because we understand how the brain works, right? And this idea that you've got to be scripted and you have to, you know, say these certain things. There's a standard for what you should say. There's not. I have a recorded call, and I'll play it randomly if people are around. In the call, the opening statement is, you know, hey, Mr. Jones, it's Johnny Brock. You over there watching Gunsmoke? That's literally what I said. I asked him if he was watching Gunsmoke. He's like, no, watching Law and Order. And I was like, oh, okay, gotcha. And then I just went into the conversation with him. There's no standard for what we have to say. The biggest key, and I'm making a transition here. The biggest key to phone sales or even door knocking is transference of energy, right? And that transference of energy is not going to be done off of being fake. You have to be real when you're talking to people and just be yourself. Let your personality shine, right? And if you don't have a personality, you need to get around some folks like us and learn how to fake it till you make it. But yeah, I mean, what else do you guys want to talk about? Is there something else y'all trying to touch on?
Dude, well, I had two thoughts. Number one, stemming back from what we initially opened up this podcast with, asking Ryan how much his business exploded, going from 6 hours a day to 12 hours a day. The difference between that feeling like work and that not feeling like work is the people you surround yourself with. So there's two types of people. There's the suppressive person, and we can just call them the good friend, right? So y'all are all my really good friends. If I tell you I'm going to do something, you're going to push me to do it because you know my potential, and vice versa. If you tell me you're going to write 250 Medicare apps, I want to check in with you and make sure you're going to write 250 Medicare apps that month and push you. And if you tell me, oh, you're going to take a day off, I'm going to be like, dude, what do you mean, bro? You gotta push to reach that goal. The suppressive individual. So that makes work not feel like work because we're just we're actually living, all right? It's not work, it's life. Goals go hand in hand with life. It's not work and then life. It's life. So if you're striving for that goal and you got the right people pushing you, you know, what goes into our ears, goes into our brain is seeds, right? So that's what we begin to think, and that's what goes into our mind. So whether you believe it or not, everything somebody says in your environment is now going to affect you if it's positive or negative. So if it's positive, now you're on the same wavelength and you're aligned with your purpose and your goals. Now, switch it over to the other side. Suppressive people. Hey, man, my goal was 250 apps this month. Oh, dude, well, didn't you say you sold, aren't you at like 100? Come on, man, just hang out. Anything they say to bring you down to a smaller level, they try to squash what you're doing, invalidate. Oh, man, they start giving you reasons why it's not that important. And they try to bring you back down a level to where you were. The whole point of life is to grow, not to come back to where we were. Okay. So if they bring you back down or they try to bring you back to the past, somebody that you're trying to get away from, which we should all be trying to get away from, who we used to be. Otherwise, you're not reaching your full potential and you're not growing. That's what fake people do. That's what people who can't handle growing on themselves and actually working to build the life that they need do. So it's just, I can't stress enough how important it is to get yourself in the right environment, get yourself around people like Ryan, Alec, and Johnny, and whoever else. I know you guys we got a lot of great people in our group. So do you guys. Get around people that are going to actually push you to be yourself. Otherwise, you're literally, if you put your stats on a graph, it's going to be like a roller coaster, because all you're doing is now you're going up, you're doing good. You hang out with those people that are bringing you down. So then that next week, now you're going like this, and it's just and you can never get rid of it. And the reason why is because you're surrounding yourself with the wrong people. So when you surround yourself with the right people, it doesn't feel like work. It's just life aligning with your goals and your purpose.
Perfect, man. Demotivators. Stay away from the demotivators.
Right. So people are huge, right? And another thing is, like, when you are quote unquote average, dude, like, you can tell so much about a person by the questions they're asking you. Like, you can tell if they're really interested in success. Like, everyone, like, oh, what time do you wake up? Like, that's the wrong question. It's like, what do you not do? Like people just have like these preconceived, like, how much money do you make, right? Oh, I make X amount of money. They don't ask, like, how do you do, what do you do, like, what it looks like. So people just got to start asking, like, better questions, man.
If you see somebody thriving, get around them and figure out what they're doing and ask the right questions. Don't be, kind of jump into how much money you make. You're driving a nice car. Go and have lunch with them and figure out what the hell they're doing so that you can get the nice car too.
And then I was just going to tie it in. So, like, Eric just was talking about, like, people we were talking about. And then, dude, like, whether you're waking up at 7 a.m., 5 a.m., everyone's going to have their own obligations, routines, thing going on. It's what do you do with your, 24 hours? Like, how quickly do you get into it? You said, early in the podcast, like, you're writing your goals late. Like, it's about waking up, rolling out of bed, doing the things you need to do. Like, early on in the day, write my goals, get that done. Like, what do you do with your time? And just moving with urgency, speed. Like, literally, it's kind of like being an intense person. Like, when you're on that mode, when you're working, like, you gotta have that. You gotta have that.
My schedule has kind of been pretty set in stone lately with 6 a.m. wake up, roll over. I immediately take a shower, or I take my dog for a walk around the block, get moving a little bit, take a shower, go to the office, write goals down, and then I start working. We have our 8 a.m. meeting. As soon as our 8 a.m. meeting's over with, I'm working. But I'm very much so more efficient and more active from like 11 to 7. Those are my prime hours. 11 to 7, 11 to 8. That's when I'm really, really motivated and ready to go. So, like, whereas Lodi may be the guy that wants to go to bed a little after 8 so that he can get up earlier and get going. I'm kind of where I'll be working on projects like speeches and things like that at, between 8 and 10. And then I'm hitting the hay and I'm trying to get up. I don't like sleeping more than 6 hours. I really don't. Every now and then I'll grab an 8-hour session, but I'm never sleeping more than 8 hours. And if I do sleep more than 6 hours, it's no more than twice a week. 6 hours is, I mean, come on, Marines they sleep like 2.5, 3 hours a day in boot camp. Like, they don't get any sleep. Like, if they can do that shit, we can handle 6 hours. And it's hard. That's so much time, right? I mean, The Rock, he wakes up at freaking 4 o'clock every day. He's probably been doing that for 30 freaking years. The amount of effort, and it goes back to the Kobe thing, the amount of time that he's put into his craft. That's the reason he's worth freaking $2 or $3 billion, because he's doing that, right? He's getting up and he's taking his momentum and his time very seriously. And
oh, my bad.
No, you're straight. I was just going to say, we've got a certain amount of time on this earth, and we've got to take advantage and maximize our time. That's probably one of the biggest differentiators and separators is the amount of time.
I was talking about questions, like asking the right questions, but it's like, okay, Kobe Bryant, like, dude, this guy probably on 3 hours of sleep, like, knees hurt, ankles hurt, wrist hurts, everything hurts. This guy's like in the gym going hard, like maniac. But how do you do that, dude? It's these people's thoughts. Like, Kobe's mind was consumed like nothing, laser focus. Where am I going? Who am I going to be? It wasn't about, the car he was going to get, nothing like that. It was like, who am I becoming? He was just on this journey, on this mission.
And LeBron said the same thing. Pain is only in the mind. My body says I'm tired, but that's only my mind. I ain't tired. I don't get tired. Like that's the type of mindset that those guys have. That's why they're so successful.
And it makes me think how much I don't push myself. And I also want to say, like, so for me, at times, like a big thing for me personally, hope this helps someone out. You might find yourself like reflecting on the past throughout the day, or like, your thoughts. So just know when you're reflecting on the past, I heard it today, you're not progressing in the present, right? So if you're reflecting on the past, you're not progressing in the present moment. You're not doing something, you're not moving forward. And I mean, definitely got to be cautious of that. You do not want to spend. I feel like a lot of people do that, especially if they get to a certain age, college, get a job, do everything they're supposed to do. And I think human beings, like more than half of them, is just focused on the past, what it used to be, because they're not doing anything anymore.
Now, when are we going to make this shirt that says average is the real pandemic? I see Lodi's shirt. It says, I apologize in advance. And I fucking love it. We got to get a shirt that says average is the real pandemic. That'd be
a bestseller.
Exactly.
It really would. I'm gonna make that for sure.
Let's roll.
I'm gonna make that happen, boys. I mean, I'll get Jacob to design it and I'll get us to make some and I'll send y'all one. Average is the real pandemic. Y'all are the reals. Appreciate y'all coming on, man. Anybody got final words? Final words for the audience? Lodi, tell them something serious real quick before we hit the road. I'm putting you on the spot.
Something serious, man. I mean, from what we're all talking about is, surrounding yourself with the right people. It's the biggest game changer. As they always talk about, the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And you're a product of your environment, right? And you got to have those people who are going to lift you up. You got to have those people that are going to support you, people that are going to, tell you to keep pushing forward instead of quitting. And most importantly, like those people that are focused on the future and not just where they're at and what they have right now. I mean, as far as comfort goes, you're never going to find the greatest you within your comfort zone. You're going to find the greatest you. You're going to become the best you. You're going to get the most results and the most outcomes when you're outside of your comfort zone. Like what Eric was saying as well, when you work those 10 to 12-hour days, on a disciplined, consistent daily basis, weekly, monthly, you do it for a year, it's not even going to feel like work anymore. It's just going to feel like a habit. And the highly successful individuals are working at a pace so fast and they're working so much and they're getting such great results and great outcomes that work doesn't even feel like work anymore. It just feels like a natural habit and it's just something that's natural to them. So as far as building that momentum, you gotta watch out for those momentum killers, things that are going to kill your momentum. I see so many people, get the success that they have in their life. Maybe they have a great day, a great week, a great month, and then they start coasting off and their graph starts to go down. Like Eric was talking about, graph goes up and then it goes down. If you have momentum, keep that momentum rolling, keep doing what you are doing and what has built that momentum and keep repeating those successful actions. And don't try to introduce something new. Introduce something new when you're continuing to do what works, but you don't want to stop what you're doing that works and try to introduce something new. Keep doing what is working and double down and have that long-term vision. So man, it's just great conversation, great overall little mastermind group that we had here this evening. And man, I appreciate you having me here tonight, brother. I appreciate it.
No problem. I'll end on this, guys. So here's how I would put it, right? All 4 of us have been in an average state of mind. I will say that, right? Y'all agree? All 4 of us have been in a point where we've been in an average state of mind, right? So I think back to when I was smoking dope, working in a factory. I would go to work. I'd come home. I would smoke dope, smoke weed, chill on the couch, go to sleep, go to the factory, do the same thing over and over again. And I was with people that were doing the same thing. Literally, we would go to work, night shift, whether it's night shift, day shift, whatever. We'd come home, smoke, and then eat a pizza and go to bed. You're around those people so consistently that it becomes normal. And we're all doing the same thing, feeding off each other's energy, right? So what we are doing, what us four are doing, is we're feeding off one another's energy to continue growing, right? Because our mindset is not in that stagnant, same place mindset. And I have gone 100% sober. Me and Eric talked about this earlier last week. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do anything now because my mindset, I'm trying to train my mind to not even want or desire any substance because I believe that that's what's best for me and my longevity and how to get to where I want to get to. Right. But the main thing here is that billionaires hang out with billionaires. Average folk hang out with average folk. Above average hang out with above average. You are who you surround yourself with. So get around the right people. And that's how you get to where you want to get to and become what we refer to as the real, right? The billionaires, right? Because that mindset is, what's the word I'm looking for? Infectious. There we go. Appreciate it, guys. I really, really do. And I think we should do this more on a consistent basis. So we appreciate y'all tuning in.
It's time to grow your agency like a guru. Introducing Go Guru Pro. The Go High Level platform allows for minimizing software-based subscriptions and grants control over several facets of marketing and communication. Automate your workflow, communicate with your leads, book appointments in advance, and house all your clients in one secure location. Visit goguru.pro and schedule your one-on-one demo today.